Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Sishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. So we are now doing the Madhu Kanda. This is the last Kanda of this second chapter. And mentioned that as a summary of the previous Kandas, this is indicating the Satyam and Satyasya Satyam. This is what is the transactional reality and what is the absolute reality. Both are being pointed out. And within the transactional reality, all the way from small to all the way up to Hiranyagarbha, all are interdependent. That's what he's trying to tell us, that you depend on that and that depends on you. So the totality is part of all individual. When you're talking about totality involving a sum, some total, so each individual contributes to the total. So this is essentially, one can say, a Visishtadvaita concept, or one can say it is from the Brahman as total reality also. So how does this look like? When I am looking at the total world, starting from Brahmaji, all that down, so everything is interdependent on others. So total Brahman is one and individual components constituting the totality is the total. Because I am there, you are there, he is there, everything is part of this. America is made of so many people, India is so many people, all are constituting the particular total of that, and universe is nothing but all pills put together and all that. It builds up ultimately all lokas and everything, and completely you see the Virat Swarupam or Vishwaswarup. So one can stop with that and says that Paramatma is that pervades all that, and each are components of this, and total Brahman is one and everything is Visishta aspect of this. It means I am qualifying the totality. I am one of them that qualifies the total. I am one citizen with one vote, right? My vote counts, but majority counts. So each one contributing other. But in this, one has to be a little bit careful. Even though totality depends on individual components, individual suffering would not affect the totality. So that has to be clear. So Krishna also mentions that nothing will affect me. All beings are in me, but their avasthas are not going to affect me. Their sufferings and enjoyments and all that, nothing will happen to me. Ayatadamidam sarvam jagad avyastamam mastani sarvabhatani nachaham teshu avastitaha. Their avasthas are not, means their states of whatever they are, some people may be suffering, some people may be enjoying, some people may be cursing, some people are, that will not affect me at all. Because even though they are all part of me as a Vishwarupam, but as I said in the immediately next sloka, Najamastani Bhutani, there are no beings in me. That means I am beyond this avyaktam, beyond even avyaktam also. I am the pure consciousness where there is no individual. That part, this is Advaita Minada, because there is no, the Swagata Vedas, they don't accept it. They accept Sajati Vijati Vedas. I don't know if you mean something. But there is a total, of which there are always parts. Individuals are always there. Individuals are part of the total. That's what they think. And when I am happy, every component of me is also happy in a way. That is Visishtadvaita. Dvaita is a little bit different. Just for curiosity, I'll tell you. Dvaita is like each one is like a small pot. And your pot size depends on, is varying. Some are bigger pots, Don't tell me why they have big pots. Some are small pots. Why they are big pots? Don't ask. It is so. End of the story there. And you get your pot full. When you are happy, you can get happiness as much as your pot can take. No more than that. But you are happy because you are full. There is no more you can take it there because your pot is full. Other fellow is bigger pot, so he will have bigger happiness. Why this disparity? Don't ask. It is so. Period. That is the Advaita position. For Advaita, there is no pots. There is only one. So we don't have that problem of pots anyway. But here, this one is interpreted differently. So we'll go with the Advaitic definitions and see how this fits in. Okay, we'll do 2.8.14. 2.5.14. Ayamatma sarvesham bhutanam madhu. Ma sarvesham bhutanam madhu. Asya atmanaha sarvani bhutani madhu. Yaschayam asmin atmani tejomayaha amrutamayaha purushaha yaschayam atma tejomayaha amrutamayaha purushaha ayameva sa yaha ayam atma idam amrutam idam brahma idam sarvam. So I am Atma. Here the Shankara interprets I am Atma as this total body, the whole body of the totality, God Purusha. Sarvesham bhutanam madhu. For everybody this is the madhu. Madhu is honey, right? So one has to be in the totality, one is happy with indeed in the totality. Because when the total is happy, I am also happy. One way of looking at it. I depend on the totality also. I depend upon the nature. Nature is the total. In total universe, I depend on for my survival. I depend upon the air. I depend upon the water. And these are the first ingredients of the creation itself. That comes from the total. That's a part of the totality. There are Panchabhutas, and my dependence is there from even for my survival, I depend on that. So when everything is clean and neat, all the things that I need are clean, air to breathe, water to drink, food to eat, I'm happy. All the struggle is only for that, right? But if I destroy those things, that is a different problem. If I destroy what is given for my selfish reason, then it's a different problem. I am not only not hurting myself, in the final analysis, I am hurting other jivas also within that. That's a separate. So interdependency should involve responsibility also, as an ecological balance has to be maintained to make sure the totality remains as a totality without disintegrating it. So here it says there is interdependence of the total on individuals also is there. So I am Atma, this total body, Sarvesham Bhutana Madhu, it is for Sarvesham and Bhutana, all beings in this world and all elements also, is Madhu, is the honey. Honey means it is a favorable or dependent entity from which it can survive. Asya Atmanaha, and to this body, Sarvani Bhutani Madhu, all beings are beneficial. If everyone is happy, then totality is happy. So in the Karma Yoga, in the 3rd chapter, Krishna gives you the recipe for success. Yajnartam karmanon yatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha. So you do for yajna any action. Otherwise, karma bandhana, otherwise it is going to be bondage. Says, what is that yajna? So he is teaching in the middle of the war and say now he wants Arjuna to do some Om Swaha. That's not yajna there. Yajna is, Swami Chirmananda defines beautifully, yajna is cooperative action, cooperative endeavor, where I put forth my best to the degree that my part for the benefit of the totality. That is yajna. So that's why jnana yajna, this is called jnana yajna, where I do whatever I can do, my part, my best for the benefit of the totality. So yajnartham kuru, so everybody doing their part, their best for the benefit of the totality in a self-sacrificing way, then the success is guaranteed. Otherwise, if I want to do other people, I want to take all the benefits myself and not other people, I won't do anything and let other people do so that I can take, then it doesn't work. That's called not a yajnartham. So spirit of yajna involves every component to do the best for the totality. So those who attended my talks on the Karma Yoga and all that, it says from the individual point, every component, the body, mind and intellect, every component of myself, these are three equipments I have, body, mind, intellect, doing their part, their best for the benefit of the totality as an individual. That means when I am sitting for the education study, the mind should be available, right? Mind is running somewhere else and body is here, then that doesn't work. So cooperative endeavor means every part doing their part, their best to the best for the benefit of the totality, then success is guaranteed. That because Deva, they have to shower the results. That's what is the Upanishad says, right? In the Bhagavad Gita says. So here also, the totality depends upon individual components for its success also. Therefore, asya atmanaha, this total body is sarvani bhutani madhu, for all beings, beings are its madhu, means it depends on that. So interdependency is being indicated by the word madhu here. Yaha cha ayam atmani tejomayaha amritamayaha purushaha. So in the total body, there is a consciousness that is enlivening. This is all Advaita concept also. In the total body, the Paramatma pervades the total body. Right? That is the... So, just as I am an individual and every component of me is part of me. And I-ness pervades. When you touch finger of me, you are touching me. Right? So every weight, every limb and all, my I-ness pervades the whole body. So I am there. Wherever you touch any part of my body, you are touching me only. Because I am there. So all pervasiveness of throughout the body, the self that I am is also pervades. Sada sarvagatopyatman sarvatra bhasate. So this, I am all pervading in this body itself, in the Virat Purusha, in the total Viswarupa. Paramatma pervades the whole thing as enlivening entity of every component. That means Paramatma is there in everything also. According to them, Jivatmas are part of the Paramatma, and inside the Jivatma there is Paramatma again. It's called Antaryami. Okay, that comes with the Upanishadic statements. But here from our point, what does it say? Atma va idamagram asit. I am the self alone was there, and I self become many. So I am pervading all beings in me. So every part of the being is, I am there as the essences. And aitadattam idagam sarvam tat satyam sa atma. That is the Chandogya Upanishad says, in every idam that I am pointing out, essence is, it exists. The existence as an existence, I am pervading the whole universe. Therefore, I depend on them and they depend on me, because I am the total that pervades everything also, every component also, within the transactional satyam also. So here that is being emphasized in a different way. So one depends on the other. So yaha cha ayam atmani tejomaya amritamaya purusha. This Atmani, in this self, there is a total body of this self. Atmani is now we are talking about as a body. In the body, there is a self that pervades the whole body. And Yahach, and that is Amritamayaha, that which is eternal, and Purusha, that which is the original Purusha, that which is inside the body is that Purusha, pervading the body. And Yahacha, Ayam Atma, Tejomayaha, Amritamayaha, Purusha. And the self again is sustained by the individual components in the whole total that pervades the whole thing. So this is essentially interdependence of each one. This can be a little bit tricky in interpretations, but the one way to look at it is, when I look, I am an individual self and I identify myself with the local body, I am the local self, then I am part of the total. So each self is what Karma Yoga is talking about. Do your part, your best at that time. So the self, individual self, contributing for the total self of the total happiness also. And the total will also depend upon individual selves. That's what one way of looking at the self point, Atma point. And the self itself is eternal, even at the relative level. So Jivatma will say, I am only occupying this body particularly in this life, and when the body drops out and I go to different loka and different total points. So I never die, right? As long as the mind and intellect is there, the body is not. So if that body is good, I will take another body to use the body, because this body is no more, this car is no more useful, I have to get another car. That's all it means. Now, so this interdependency either at a subtle body level or gross body level is also being pointed out in these two. From the gross body, every component depends upon. If my hand is happy when I am totally happy, but also when the hand is happy, that means when hand is no problem, then I am also happy, right? So each component has to be part of the total. So each component has to be healthy for the totality to be healthy. So both are involved at the body level, and also at the subtle mind level, also all are involved. So each aspect is being considered from the point of either gross or subtle bodies, but from the point of the total self, from Advaita point, Ayameva Saha, Sayaha, Ayam Atma. The self alone is the one that essentially one that pervades all these entities, both the subtle and the gross, and that is the Atma, Ayam Atma. And Idam Amrutam, that is the immortality, and that is the one that really Idam Brahma, that is the underlying unity of the Brahman. Idam Sarvam, that is the whole universe of different names and forms and the whole aggregates, etc. So in the end, in spite of the pluralistic world of Madhu means all mithya aspect of the whole universe of interdependence, there is something other than all this which is independent, and that is I am. All other things only atla vyavaharika satyam, and satyasya satyam is I am Atma, idam amrutam, idam Brahma, idam sarvam. That knowledge, everything is me only, and who is that I? I am pure existent consciousness expressing in these varieties of names and forms. That should be understood in that Advaitic way. Now, who is that self that pervades? Here he is talking about either from the point of Ishvara or from the point of the totality. One can look at it in the next sloka. So it's identification of myself with the total self is being here. Sama Ayam Atma Sarvesham Bhutanam Adipatihi. Sarvesham Bhutanam Raja. tadyatha rathanabhau cha rathanemo charaha sarve samarpitaha ayameva asmin atmani sarvani bhutani sarve devaha sarve lokaha sarve pranaha sarvam et atmanaha samarpitaha. Here he gives a simple example that Ratha Chakram, that people are familiar maybe, when you have a wheel, and if it's a cycle wheel or anything, there are things that come out of the central hub, and then what called? Spikes? Forks. Okay. They are supporting the whole wheel, but all are centered to the central locus of the hub. And this is the example is provided to see the totality of the picture here. Okay? So everyone is partly supporting it, and the total is, the whole wheel is supported by individual components coming. Each spoke is really supporting from the hub, which is central hub, which is providing the whole strength for everything else. And that's what is the Ratha, we talk about in the Ratha here, Ratha Chakram. So, Sama Ayam Atma Sarvesham Bhutanam Adhipatihi. This total self is the Adhipati, is the king, or the Adhipati is the lord of all this. Whole thing is, he is the lord. In the Kathopanishad, the chariot example is given also, where the intellect is sitting there in the center of that, and the mind and the reins and the horses is pictured in a different way. But same example, somewhat similar here, says there is the one who is controlling the whole thing. Who is the controller of the whole thing? That's what is called a lord. That's why if you know Vishnu Sahasranama, if you read, all that will be there in that. So, Sama Ayam Atma Sarvesham Bhutanam Adhipati. He is the Lord of controller, everything of this whole universe. How does he control? How does he control? All phenomenal forces in nature are his expression of controlling the nature. If I misbehave, the whole universe will respond back. All tsunamis, earthquakes are all nothing but because if I misuse the nature will, with vengeance, will come back to me. If I make pollution of the whole air, everything is becoming hot. You remember, you have problems of floods and all that all over. Why? It is response for our own interaction. That's what interdependency means. And here it says this is the control, because I cannot change the gravitational force, I cannot change the frictional forces, I cannot change any forces there. I can learn it and use it for my benefit. And even I cannot do anything, I can only plant, and the plant has to make it. Right? I don't have any control on those things. I can do sit down on prayer and put water there and fertilizer there and all that, I can do only that part. But nature has to take itself. It is the one that is really getting benefit. If I spoil the nature, then it will respond back. So here this is Sama Ayam Atma Sarvesham Bhutanam Adhipati. I control means all forces in the nature that you want to do, universal forces that are there are part of my own. So who gives the results of the actions? Someone asked me in the internet, and they says, does the prayer really help? He's asking me. Is it only we are brainwashing something and thing will help? I don't know how many people know chaos theory. Heard of chaos theory? It used to be very famous in 90s, and even children, science fair projects, everybody is doing on chaos. Chaos is have you heard of butterfly effect? Okay, non-linear systems. A butterfly in China can affect the weather in New York. That's what statements are. How? Because it is not directly linear system. Any perturbation in the system will respond back. So when I do prayer, what will happen? I am aligning myself with the totality. When I pray myself, not for selfish reason, when I pray myself when you say Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina, with that attitude of surrendering myself with that, I am aligning myself, I am the totality, I am become a real hub in the total, in supporting the whole thing. Not being a crooked spoil, not taking the weight. So I am part that which is this means prayer essentially alignment of my mind with the totality. That's what is surrenderance actually. Saranagati is nothing but aligning myself with the totality, because I am him and essentially part of he is controller. And when I prod, whatever my contribution is will be reflecting back in some way. Most immediate reflection is I get the peace of mind. For me to think properly at least. Okay. So, Sarvesham Bhutanam Raja. It is for all beings, it is the king. King means it is the central factor that gives the results of the action. He is the one who benefits, this fellow should get, that fellow gets it. So he is impartial controller and the ruler, and he is the one, that's why he called, he is Karma Paladata. That's why Lord is also called Karma Pala. He gives the results of the action depending upon my action. No favoritism here. So just because I am going to do prayer doesn't mean that he is known to bless me separately as because of that, not because of that reason. If I pray, I will have a mind conducive enough. He says now you can go do actions properly, because now mind is now more agitated and I am now free to do properly also. Prayer helps in that also. But you can do prayer, I mean, for whatever reason, and if it gives, that is good. Tad yatha ratanacha rathanemo charaha sarve samarpitaha. Just as the spokes in the wheel of the chariot are fixed and supported by this central place, and everything is supported by the total, that Raja or the controller of this itself. And evam eva asmin atmani sarvani bhutani sarve devaha sarve lokaha sarve pranaha sarvam edadane samarpitaha. So all the beings, all the gods, everybody in the whole universe of different lokas and all that are part of this total, that whole wheel of things will go on as long as everything is contributing properly without anything. So that is essentially a wheel, chariot example is provided to show the interrelation between the individual component and the total component, each depending on the other for the total creation to move forward. People ask questions, nowadays the things are not working properly, the things are happening and the people are complaining all that, and in olden days things are beautiful, everything, the children used to behave properly, all people, every elder will complain about the next generation. And you should read Socrates' writings. If you read Socrates' writings, you will see exactly the same thing. At that time, people are also complaining about the next generation of people and what their young youth people are getting spoiled and all that, and what's going to happen in future and all that. Same exactly. If you translate and assume that somebody has written this right now, you think somebody has written only now, not at that time. Implication is exactly identical system goes on and on and on. Things may be a little different, and what they were talking about may be a little different from that. At that time also terrorists were there. There were kidnappers also. You remember Ravana kidnapped Sita. Lot of kidnapping also going on at that time also, in Ravana's time also. So not only now. So this, but if I stand apart, look at the whole drama of life, now that's what is chaos theory also. Everything is systematically is transported in that. There is nothing much different. Local is same as the global also. That's what is essentially the chaos also. So here, whole thing is essentially moving apart, and everybody thinks that their problem is special. Particularly if India, if you say, how are you? He will give you big history, right? Here at least, hi, how are you? Say, fine, how are you? That's the end of it. Nobody wants to listen to other fellow's problems because he has his own problems. But there, they will catch hold of you and tell you their problems. In that way, they get relieved. You may have some problem. But this goes on all the time. So there is nobody who doesn't have a problem. So don't go and tell your problems unnecessarily to other guys, because there is nothing really. But if you give satisfaction and they say, let me also have my problems, then you can go and tell them. So this wheel of this Ratham is like each bike is supporting the whole thing, and the whole thing is a continuous action results. This will go on forever once it is set. There is never end of this. Generations can come, generations can go. You have seasons come, the seasons go. You have yugas come and yugas go. Same thing will continue. What I need to do is where I fit into this, and how am I going to get out of this wheel. Okay? So the two following mantras summarize the meditation karma called pravargya. Okay, I made a note here anyway. Idam vai tan madhu dujjaku. Wait a minute. Okay, 2:5:18, right? Okay. Idam vai tan madhu dajjag adharvano ashvabhyam uvacha tadetat rushihi pasyan avochat purushas-chakre dvipadaha purushas-chakre chatushpadaha puraha sa pakshi bhutva puraha purusha avishat iti sava ayam purushaha sarvasu purshu purishayaha purshu purishayaha nainena kincha nana vrutam nainena kincha na samvrutam. So here we are exposed to who are the teachers, who are the students, and the essence of the teaching in a way. Idam vaitat madhu. So this is that meditation that one has to do here, where the absolute truth, madhu, that is, which is essentially is being taught by Dadhuk, who is Atharva Veda, Atharvano. So he is Atharva Veda, he is an expert in the Atharva Veda. He taught to Ashwin, two of those Ashwin. Tat etad rushihi pasyan avochat. So that Rishi, who is the Rishi name is Dajjaku. And having realized the truth, he is teaching the students who came to him, and these Aswinis and the twins who wanted to know, and therefore Avachata. He is teaching in this way. So he starts teaching here. So the sloka there, Purushas Chakra, is the part of the teaching of this teacher to the students. Purushas Chakre Dvipadaha, Purushas Chakre Chatushpadaha. So he's stating the creation, how did it happen? So he's giving a summary statement. How did this happen? Remember in the previous talk, this, which we didn't cover some of it, because that Brahman was there as a Purusha Vidaha, then he was lonely, then he wanted to have a wife and he had children, and then he became animals one by one, one by one. So he started with Dvipada and then many. See, this is our evolution process. Our evolution doesn't come from animal to all the way to human being. It's the other way around according to the scriptural statement. We'll address evolution a little bit later. But here it says Purushas Chakre Dvipadaha, Purushas Chakre Chatushpadaha. Dvipadaha means first two-legged ones came out, right? And then four-legged ones came out. Chatushpadaha. So the first body, the 2 feet, and then the bodies with the 4 feet came out. Puraha sa pakshi bhutva puraha purusha abhishatu. So it entered in always again the birds and the bees and the boar, all those things and varieties of animal kingdom came out one after the other. So what was he teaching? There is only one Atma itself, and becoming into many is the creation, and that's how many is being perceived. That's what is the teaching of this teacher to the students only. Therefore, what should I do? Sava ayam purushaha sarvashu purusha purushayaha. So on account, this is called Purusha because occupying in each body individually in this way, in this way, in this way, varieties wise. So one appearing as many is the essence of the whole teaching is. One total appearing as individual, first two-legged and the four-legged and the animals and the birds and all that. What is that one? Remember? Atma alone, that's what the starting point is. That essential teaching us. The self alone was there before. Atma vedamagram asit, Brahma vedamagram asit. That alone was there before. And it created into many of these. And that is Sava ayam purusha sarvashu purushu purusayaha. Nainena kinchan nanavrutam, nainena kinchana samrutam. So that which pervades everything, that Atma, the self, there is nothing beyond him. There is nothing separate from him. Everything is because he himself becoming many. So our whole creation is, what was there, you call it God or you call it Atma, you call it Brahman, names can be different, but one becoming many as himself becoming many, as individual components. And that's why Chandogya Upanishad comes beautifully, just as gold becoming into many. It is just names and forms only. This is called Nama, Rupa and Kriya only, but in essence it is the same one pervading everyone also. So there is nothing that is not covered by him and nothing that is not pervaded by him. Naineva kinchana vratam, naineva kinchana samvrutam, that is pervasive. There is nothing that is beyond that, which is, therefore there is only one, and that is the one self, that is unifying thing, that's all. Now you can use that both from the point of Advaita, that all the Brahman is one that is pervading everything, or you can say that is a self that I am, that Atma is pervading the whole thing I am. So in either way, I see plurality, and within the plurality I have to recognize now that everything is nothing but the self that I am in these varieties of names. So for sadhana means for my spiritual exercise, I have to go in a reverse process, because I am already seeing the plurality, but I have to recognize the plurality is nothing but one only appearing as many. Okay? So appearance should not deceive me, not from seeing the oneness that is pervading in the all. So I have to use that understanding. So in spite of apparent differences of individuals to individuals, or from one object to other object, one alone pervades everything, and that is the Atma, and that is myself, not some Atma something. It is myself only. That constant remembrance of the teaching is being emphasized as a summary of this whole Brahmana also. And the last sloka that we are going to take here, the 19th. Idam vai tan madhu Dadyuk adharvano ashvabhyam uvacha tadetat rushihi pasyannavochat rupam rupam pratirupam babhuva tadasya rupam pratichakshanaya Indre mayabhihi pururupa iyate yukta hyasya harayaha shatadasha iti ayam vai harayaha ayam vai dasacha sahasrani Bahuni cha anantani cha tadetat brahma apurva manaparam anantaram abhakyam ayamatma brahma sarvam anubhuhu ityanusasanam. Okay, this is the Anchama Brahmana. So this is the last sloka of this Brahmana, this is the last sloka of this Madhu Kanda also. So, idam vaitan madhu, this is the same statement as before, in a way, repetition of the top lines. Idam vaitan madhu, dajjak atharvano. This is the Dajjak who is the master of Atharvana Veda and teaching Ashwabhyam to the Ashwanis, Uvacha, he said, Tadetat Rishihi Pasyanno Vacha. So having known what is the truth, he is Uvacha, he is teaching this. And the quotation here, Rupam, Rupam, Pratirupam, Bahuva, is a very famous quotation again from this Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. It's quoted everywhere. Shankara quotes so often. And you can also quote anytime. Rupam, Rupam, Pratirupam. It looks like very musical also. So, Rupam, Rupam, Pratirupam, Bahuva. Rupam, Rupam, every form, every form, every form, every form. Rupam, Rupam is all Rupams. Rupam is Akara. Pratirupam, every form. Is Bahuva. It's essentially is formed from that oneself alone. That oneself alone became many varieties. So by remembering this, I remind myself that self that I am itself is in this form, in that form, in that form, the Rupam, Rupam, Pratirupam, Babhuva. So it's musical at the same time, is a meditative also for me to contemplate on the truth of that I am this every Rupam also. So before you encounter your boss or your somebody, think about Rupam, Rupam, Pratirupam, Babhuva. Then whatever he does is okay, because I am only that form only. In that form I had to do like this, in this form I had to do like this. So transactions become much more objective in the process. Emotional attachments go down. That's what is the most important is. Tadasya rupam tadachakshunaya. So the form that is in the for the sake of making him known in particular forms, tadasya rupam, patichakshanaya, for everything. So I cannot see him in any form, but I am seeing in every form. Follow that? That which is formless cannot be seen in any particular form. But since he pervades in every form, I should see him in every form. This is the meditation now, because the truth cannot be perceived, truth cannot be known, truth cannot be chakshusha napasyati, that which eyes cannot see, and manasa namanute, mind cannot think, because mind, chakshusha, there are only things, only finite things. That which is infinite cannot be seen, cannot be felt, cannot be, but yet he became many for my convenience now. Why? Now I can see him and then recognize that truth. But for the recognition, I need this teaching. So once I have the teaching, now I have to apply this in my every rupam that I transact, every pratirupam I do, every transactional things is only with the rupam, only with the forms only I am dealing with. But every form is my own self in this particular form, acting differently, because that's the drama that has to be paid. Okay? Don't just say, because myself they should act according to me. No, there is no according to me. You're again putting your form as their form. No. According to their own mind and intellect, that is there as my own expression there. So, varieties is the nature of this universe itself. So, I play my role in this as a rupam, one rupam, dealing with other rupams. So, tadasya rupam pratichakshanaya. So, this rupam has formed so that I can recognize the totality that is pervading in the rupam. But otherwise I cannot recognize. If I said, you need the hand to see the light there, to recognize the light, not the hand is bringing the light. Light is there, but I cannot recognize, I cannot see without my hand. But then I had to paying attention only for the hand, not to the light. So I had to shift my attention. Meditation is now only shifting the attention from what I see to that because of which I can see. And that is what essentially I am blessed indeed that the whole rupams are there for me to see that which is beyond the rupam. So the jagat, the world, the creation is actually a beneficial for me to know that which is behind this, otherwise I cannot see. So sadhana is not removal of anything, not removal of the thoughts, not going sit in some room and do meditation now, because every rupam is that. So I have to see in every rupam the presence of that, and that becomes the sadhana, that becomes the meditation, that becomes the knowledge also. And that substratum, that essence is me only has to be understood, not some God somewhere. And that becomes Atma, Anatma, Vichara. I am transacting in Anatma, but Anatma is I am the one who is supporting all that. And I am the one who is sustaining all that. And I can sustain or I can also withdraw as I go to either in the meditation or in the deep sleep state also. All that is part of understanding it. So I can be, it becomes Atma Krida or Atma Rati. Krida means involves a play. Play involves more than one. But Rati is involving reveling in myself as myself, irrespective of anything else outside. I can do both also. Indre Mayabhihi Pururupa Iyate. So here this word Maya is coming here, scripture is using, and people say there is only one place it's used in the Maya, and Advaita whole depends on Mayavadins and using one word somewhere here and making whole theory of that. They forget I am the Atma alone is there, all those things we forgot. But here is the Maya word is being used here. Indriya Maya Bihi Purushurupayate. So here Indra stands for the Lord here because the Lord of the universe. Using Maya is perceived in many forms. Purusha Rupi. Purusha means the Purusha in form. So each one is a Purusha. Form, Rupam is a Purusha Rupam. Is Iyate, is being perceived in different forms. The same Indra, the Lord himself is being perceived by Maya into varieties of these things. And what's the support for this? That's why we had to use the dream example to give us the correct illustration of that. Otherwise, it becomes a problem. So Upanishad takes us beyond this to say that in the Mandukya Upanishad, the same analysis of a waking state and a dream state and a deep sleep state, where I can see with varieties of in the dream state and rupam, pratirupam, abhoya. So even there also every form is forming, but all that is nothing from aching from one. That is who is sleeping in the AC bedroom. That mind of that, supported by the consciousness, is projecting the plurality of the dream world. Pratirupam abhoya. That gives you a parallelism, and nature has provided you. Therefore, what is the Maya Shakti there? It is the Nidra Shakti acting as a Maya Shakti, covering avarana, for covering that I am a sleeper there in the Dunlop, in the AC room. That part is covered. And Vikshepa, projecting the plurality there in the dream as varieties of rupam, pratirupam. So varieties of forest, the sun, moon, everything is like I'm projecting in the dream world, and forgetting that I am projecting because it's being covered. I see that that is real at that time. Now I see this is real at this time, but Vedanta says, at least now I have intellect in this waking state, which I can use a discriminative faculty to know what is nityam and what is anityam here, that which I don't have in the dream state. Oh, someone comes and says, dream is not there when you get up. So this also will not be there when you get up. As long as the BMI, the body, mind and intellect is there, you will see plurality. In the dream also, as long as the dream body, dream mind, dream intellect is there, you will see plurality. When you awaken to the waking state, the dream body, mind and intellect are merged into the waking world. Therefore, you don't see any more dream. But here, I don't have to go to other state to see the reality, because I can develop using a sadhana, an intellect, a discriminative faculty for me to discriminate what is real and what is unreal. What is real, what is unreal? That which never changes is real, that which is changing is not really real. So one is satyam, one is satyasya satyam. That discriminative viveka is required for realization. Without that, no realization. And discriminative faculty comes by intellectual training the intellect. That's all. Education is only to discriminate what is right and what is wrong. Child otherwise he doesn't know what is right and what is wrong. Same way, what is right and what is real, what is unreal. And what is real is that which doesn't change. If I have those tools to discriminate, then only I can see what is real here, what is not really real here. Everything that changes cannot be really real. That includes starting from my own body. My own body, mind, intellect, everything changing, thus that cannot be really real. Yes, transactionally, yes, I have body too, so that when it pains, I cannot sit down properly. So that body is useful for that. But when I recognize I am not the body, I can use the body to the degree that it's capable of, then I can play the body or game with understanding also. So here, Indre Mayabhi Pururupayate. This using the Maya, Indre, the Lord himself, is using the Maya as a tool. So here a scriptural statement is given, which Advaita uses statement that Brahman himself cannot create by himself. Because all pervading Brahman is pure Satchidanandam. From that point there is no creation even. But when you talk about the creation, how did it come and all that, we bring this, remember, Avyakrutam become Vyakrutam. That's what in the previous chapters. So Avyakrutam is that which is potential in the form. That's what is called Maya, and that is expressing in this varieties form as a Rupam, Pratirupam, Abhoya. So essentially, here this statement is used in support of Advaitic philosophy, as there is Maya, that because of that the polarity is projected and he is Mayavi. Other people also use Maya, but not in the same degree. Daivim Esha Gunamayi Mamaya Duratyaya Mame Vae Prapadyante Maya Maitam Tirante. Krishna says in the Gita, Daivim Esha Gunamayi Mamaya Duratyaya. This Maya is of divine origin. My Maya. He says, my Maya means I am the owner of that Maya. I am the Mayavi. I am the Paramit. It's my Shakti. That is, Maya is of divine origin. That is my origin. Daivim Esha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratya. One cannot cross that by your efforts. Daivim Esha Gunamayi Mama Maya. Mame Vaye Prapadyante Mayam Etam Mayam Tarantite. So, by surrendering to me only you can cross this. That's what, and this is used by Visishta Advaita. Say, oh, hello, Krishna said, not Shiva. Remember, it's Krishna who said that. So, what did he say? Surrendering to me alone, you will cross this ocean of Maya. So, unnecessarily, other gods cannot have this power. You have to surrender to the Lord Krishna or Vishnu. Then only you will cross the ocean. Maya tatamidam sarvam jagadavyakta murtina. I am that which pervades the whole universe itself. If I understand that Krishna is not just particular form in the Vaikuntha, because all-pervading Lord cannot be in one location in Vaikuntha, all-pervading Lord has to be everywhere. And if I consider that as the real truth, that all-pervading Lord is not but what was there before is that which is I am Atma Brahman. That's what Advaitic philosophy says. So, Yukta Asya Rayaha Shatadashaha. So, for him, these all organs are connected, and this is being used again in Visishta Advaita. It says that Brahman is one, everything is organic relationship for them. Means every organ is related to the total. My hand is related, my leg is related to me only. They are mine, but they are not me. Right? So in the same way they use that, whereas everything is rupam, pratirupam bhaya. Every rupam, every form is him, but rupam is not him. You have to follow that. Say Brahma Arpanam. Says this ladle is Brahman, doesn't mean the ladle alone is Brahman. Brahman is infinite, but through the ladle I can see Brahman that pervades the ladle also, because that is indivisible. Pervading, that existence is pervading even the ladle also. That understanding has to be there, and that's what is the Advaitic statement is. I am Vai Harayaha, I am Vai Dasacha Sahasrani, Bahunicha Anantani. So he is infinite, he is the organs, he is the 10,000s and many and infinite, there is no limitless. Sahasrasir Shah Purushaha Sahasraksha Sahasrapat Sabhumim Vishwato Utvat Shabdasham Gulam. Remember what is that? Sahasraksha Sahasra. Thousands of eyes, thousands of legs, hands, everything. It looks like octopus, right? No, every hand, every leg, everything is nothing but him only. Everything him, but beyond that, Atyatishtat Dashangulam, that which is this, but beyond that 10 inches above. 10 inches means it doesn't touch any of this, yet it is there. Not the 10 inches that you measure, 10 inches, it is an implication that it is beyond that. It is Purushaye Vedagum Sarvam Yad Bhutam Yascha Bhavyam. What is to be known? That which pervades all this. Thousands of heads, thousands of hands, that which is essentially I am Atma, Idagam Sarvam, Tat Satyam, Atma. So this entire universe is pervading by that consciousness, existence that I am, has to be understood. Until then I can worship the Lord as something separate from me. But once I understand the Lord cannot be separate, I have to move to the dualistic in terms of aham and anatma. Atma, anatma becomes a problem. Anatma depends on me because I pervade everything, but only as a substantive, and I am unaffected by any of the changes that occurs in any rupam. Rupam will be changing, but I am changeless in all the rupams. Rupam means a form. And that is my nature. So I had to use this knowledge as a sadhana first. Therefore, Atmaityo upasita. From now on, I am going to do upasana what? Seeing myself in every form. That is upasana. Bringing the Lord into one particular form and do the puja is our regular puja. Asmin bimbi, some Vishnu avahayami, Ganapati avahayam, some Lord is asking him to come into this bimbam. Now asmin rupe, the Atma avahayami, I am invoking myself into this form because I am seeing myself in that form. So rupam, pratirupam, babhuva, every rupam, every form, everything is nothing but me only expressing in varieties and names and forms. That should be my understanding. Until that understanding sinks in, I had to do as sadhana. So what should I do with all this? Tadetat Brahma apurvam anaparam anantaram abahyam ayamatma Brahma sarvam anubhuhu iti anushashanam. This is the teaching. What is the teaching? That etat Brahma, that alone is the Brahman, which is apurvam, which is beyond any beginningless. It is, purvam means before that, there is nothing else beyond that. There is a beginningless. And anaparam, there is beyond, next also, there is more, nothing in the forward, nothing in the back. Everywhere is nothing, but there is no before him or after him. Anantaram also is not there. Abhahyam, there is no by outside or inside. Oh, Lord is only, I have to go inside. And so, no, Lord is outside also. So, everywhere inside, then where is that I cannot be away from the Lord? Only I have to recognize the Lord. It's problem of recognition, not any more invocation, because it is there. That understanding has to be clear. And that is Brahman. And that is Ayamatma Brahma. Therefore, that Atma, Brahman is I am Atma. I am is that Brahman. That is Anushashanam. That is the teaching. And Sarvam Anubhuhu. So everything is Anubhu, everything is experience at the experience level. But what is there is essentially I am only being experienced in varieties of Rupam, Pratirupam, Babhuva. So with that, we complete the Madhu Kanda, and this knowledge has to be kept in mind. So until the next camp at least, as a sadhana, we need to make sure that Rupam, Pratirupam, Babhuva, every form, everything is nothing but myself in that form, in this form, in this form. That teaching has to be synchronized and to be practiced as intellectual cognitive process, veil transacting with each rupam as it is required for transactions. With that, I would like to stop, and the guys are standing here.